بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So last week we looked at in and the kinds of in, and we said there are four kinds of in الشرطية, in النافية, in المخففة من الثقيلة أو من إن, and in الزائدة. Okay, so that's what we looked at last time. In is pretty straightforward. So if you're looking at a conditional sentence, then it's in shartiya. If it's a negation, then it's in nafiya. If it's in with the meaning of inna and it comes with a lam after it, if you see a lam after it, then it's in al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. If it's extra and normally comes with ma nafiya, then it's in al-za'ida. So we covered that last time. Today, inshallah, we're going to look at the types of an. Okay, now this one is a bit challenging because the concepts are slightly different, but the good thing is already we are familiar with in al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. So an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila is going to be slightly similar to that, and we are also familiar with an za'ida. Basically, we are familiar with the concept of za'ida. So we know there's going to be a za'ida, there's going to be a mukhaffafa. So the only new thing that we'll be covering is masdariya and tafsiriya. Okay, so basically there are four kinds of an, just like there are four kinds of in. Okay, four kinds of an, four kinds of in. Now the first one and the most common one is an masdariya. An masdariya. Now remember when we covered long time ago, we covered masdar mu'awwal, compound or complex isms. Compound isms. We said when you have harf masdariya, and we listed a number of them. There was a couple of huruf masdariya. Let me see if I can be able to just remind you guys. So compound ism, long ago. So we talked about an. This is what we're going to cover today. There's anna, like anna harf nasb, inna, anna, ka'anna, bi anna. There's ma, masdariya. We covered this in types of ma. Kay, we mentioned this, and then the kay, this one. Okay. Law, also law masdariya, and we said this one is a special one. Maybe you can refer to those notes. It's a special case. And then hamzatul taswiya. Sawa'un alayhim. أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم. So that أأنذرتهم أم لم. So it normally comes with So those ones are the huruf masdariya. So today we're just going to focus on an masdariya. That's where we are today. Okay. So when it comes as an masdariya, it could be one of two things based on the Bayina textbook. I know when you look at the textbook, it might have a lot more details than what I'm giving you, but basically I have tried to summarize in a concise way because I felt like maybe the book wasn't organized in the best way. So I tried to organize it a little, to rearrange basically what the content of the textbook. So an masdariya could come in two ways. Okay, it could come as ta'liliya, and when we say ta'liliya, we mean because. So it could come with the meaning of because. Okay, so this is the meaning of because. And then you have as-sababiyya. As-sababiyya, we covered fa as-sababiyya, and one of the ways we translate fa as-sababiyya is lest. Lest this happens to you, or otherwise this happens to you. So that's another way you translate as-sababiyya. So these are the two ways in which an masdariya could come in. Okay, it could come with the meaning of because, or it could come with the meaning of otherwise, something. All right, so just keep that in mind. We'll look at it in details. Then we have an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila, just like in mukhaffafa min al-thaqila, although this one is slightly different. It has its own rules and stuff. Okay, but just the idea that this one is also from anna. Just like in was from inna, this al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila is also from anna. Okay, just to remember that. And then we have an at-tafsiriya. Now this is what in the textbook is called an maqul al-qawl. It's the same thing. And this one always comes with the meaning of saying. So when you're translating, you'd use the word saying or meaning, but I prefer saying. Okay? So أن مقول القول أو أن تفسيرية, you translate it as saying. And then you have, and of course this you translate it as that. Because أن means that, right? So أن المخففة من الثقيلة, you'll also translate it as that. أن مصدرية, this one you translate it as to. The normal أن مصدرية, you translate it as to eat, to drink, to sleep, and so on and so forth. And then you have you have أن الزائدة, and this, like any other زائدة that we have done, we've covered so many حروف زائدة, I think if not all of them, maybe one or two we haven't done. So like any other حروف زائدة, it comes in a sentence as an extra word, but doesn't really affect the grammar. And if you remove it, the meaning remains. But it's not really extra in a sense because it adds emphasis. Okay, so it's not pointless, it's extra, but it's not pointless. It has a meaning in the sentence. It has a role, okay, to play in the sentence. So this one is just basically emphasis. How are you going to translate it? You're going to just try and add emphasis to the best of your ability. All right, so now let's go into the details. Let's start with an masdariya, the an that forms masdar mu'awwal. Okay, so we discussed when we were talking about masdar mu'awwal, and an is one of those huruf that would make a mudara that it comes with masdar mu'awwal. And we also said that when this happens, the mudara will become mansub. So this an is the only an, I have to make this very clear. This an masdariya, is the only an that makes the mudari' mansub. So remember when we were learning an lan likay idan hatta, and we were saying, okay, these are light harfs. So this is the light harf that we're talking about. So whenever you see a mudari' that is mansub after an, immediately go to masdariya. Immediately. Whatever role, it doesn't matter which role it's doing, whether it means because, whether it means lest, whether it means to, whatever it means. Yeah, just go to masdariya. Okay, so if you see a mudari' that is mansub, masdariya immediately. Okay, so it comes with both madi and mudari'. Of course, if it comes with madi, you cannot tell. This is where it becomes a bit tricky. But if it comes with a mudari', then immediately, if you see it as mansub, then this is an masdariya. And it is the most common type of an. The most common type of an you will find. أن يذهب, أن يأكل, and so on and so forth. Okay, and it translates as to, for the most part, unless it is playing the role of because, or unless it is playing the role of otherwise. But for the most part, you're going to just translate it as to. So for example, أن يذهب إلى البيت. أن يذهب, you can actually see that it is mansub, so you know this is masdariya. So we can actually replace this أن يذهب with a masdar. الذهاب إلى البيت. To go to the house, something, something, something. So this is an incomplete sentence because remember, this one just forms a masdar mu'awwal. To go to the house, something, something. Okay. أن يذهب إلى البيت. To go to the house, what? أن يأكل الطعام. You can replace that with the masdar أكل الطعام. Okay. So that's the general idea about an masdariya. So how does it come with the meaning of because, or translated as because? For example, in this example we have here, أتعذبون رجلا أن يقول. So you see that fatha there, or you see any signs of nasab, you know immediately we are dealing with an masdariya. Okay, أتعذبون رجلا أن يقول لكم الحقيقة. Are you punishing a man because he says to you the truth? So you can see how because it comes in. Like your reason for punishing this man is because he is telling you the truth. أتعذبون رجلا أن يقول لكم الحقيقة. Yeah. So this could also be like sort of like sababiyya, because the reason why this part is happening is because of this part. So A is a result of B. So you can also look at it that way. Or for example, Did I mix? I think I mixed this example. Or for example here, أوضح المعلم المواضيع جيدا أن تفشلوا. The teacher explained the topics really well, lest you fail, or hating that you fail. So the teacher did this, hating that you fail. Okay. I don't know if that's clear. So basically you just look at the sentence and you see, is it giving a reason? Is it like a lest or otherwise you would fail? You can actually say it here also. Otherwise you would fail. Or fearing that you would fail, hating that you would fail. This is how sometimes it is translated. But essentially, you would actually see signs of nasab. So if you see any signs of nasab, this was supposed to be tafshaluna. Yeah, tafshaluna. But then noon was taken away, and now you have an tafshalu. Here you have the nasab. You can actually see the fatha. So an yaqula fatha. Is that clear for an masdariya? So basically, just look at, yes.
Why was the noon taken away in the second example?
Because we have to make it nasab. So tafshaluna is marfu, then tafshalu, nasab and jar. Tafshalu.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one always has to be nasab. So just remember that an masdariya is the only kind of an that makes mansub, that makes the mudara mansub. Okay. So that's the first kind of an. Then we have the second kind of an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. Okay. So this one, most of the times it comes with a fi'al madi, but not always. Sometimes it comes with a fi'al mudari. But if it comes with a fi'al mudari, it will not have any effect. So you'd actually see a dhamma on whatever word, or you would see signs of being marfu'. No, it's going to be normal, in other words. So this one is going to be normal. Because remember I said, an masdariya is the only one that has an effect. The rest do not have any effect. So if you don't see any effect, then it's not an masdariya. If you see that the mudara is mansub, then definitely it's the only one and it's an masdariya. Okay, so this one doesn't have any effect on the mudara, and most of the time it's going to come with a fi'al madi. And if it comes with a mudara, not only will it be normal, but it's going to have some kind of a, what we call a fasil, a separator. It's going to have some kind of a separator. So an qad, an sa, an sawfa, an la, an lan. So you see, it's going to come with one of these guys if it's a mudara. Okay, so if you see any one of these guys, or if you see an, then something in between, then the mudara, then you know this is an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. All right, that's important. Sometimes it comes with an implied harf of jar, but this one, don't really focus so much on it. As long as you understand that, you know, if you see one of these guys, then you know it's an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. And also sometimes it comes with a hidden dhamiru sha'n. Okay, so for example, do I have, okay, so let me just give another example. So for example, if I say alla yadhabu, alla yadhabu, so we know this is, there's an inside here, and because the la is present, then I know this is noon al-thaqila. The idea is actually it's supposed to be annahu, because this is an al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila, so it's actually basically anna, but because the la came, we can say anna la, so we shorten it, we make it an, and then we add the la. But the idea was that it actually comes with dhamiru sha'n, annahu la yadhhabu. This is essentially what it was supposed to be. Alla yadhhab is the same as annahu la yadhhab. Okay, so this dhamiru sha'n here, this who, is what we're talking about. That he does not go. And of course you translate it as that. because it's like anna. Anna translates as that. This one also you translate as that. Okay. So let's look at some examples. So أحزنني أن زيد مسافر. And you can see it comes sometimes with the جملة اسمية, it comes with the جملة فعلية. It doesn't really matter. It comes with both. So أحزنني أن زيد مسافر. It saddens me that Zaid is traveling. So this one you put in a that. Okay. So for the masdar we put in a to, or because, or lest, depending on what meaning it comes with for the masdar. But for أنا المخففة من الثقيلة, we translate it with that. أحزنني, it saddens me that Zaid is traveling. Okay. Or علمت أن سيسافر زيد. I knew that Zaid would be traveling. Okay, I knew that Zaid would be traveling. And you can see the sa is extra here. So there's an plus the mudari, and the mudari has a dhamma on it. Okay. أعجبت. So this is a question. أعجبت من أن نجح زيد. So sometimes there's a hidden harf of jar, like min. أعجبت من أن نجح زيد. Or you can just do away with the harf jar and say أعجبت أن نجح زيد. Are you surprised that Zaid passed? Or are you surprised that Zaid succeeded? Yeah, من أن نجح زيد. And you can see this is فعل ماضي. So it normally comes with فعل ماضي, but sometimes it comes with a مضارع. And if it comes with a مضارع, two things. It's going to be normal, and you're going to see one of these guys. قد, سا, سوف, لن. Basically, it's going to have something in between the مضارع and the an. Okay? Is that clear? And of course, it translates as that. So that's أن المخففة من الثقيلة. When you see مخففة من الثقيلة, just look out for these things. That's the biggest clue you would have if it's a mudara. Okay? That's the biggest clue. All right. Then you have an at-tafsiriya. Now this, like we said, it's the an that in the book we are calling an maqul al-qawl, and it has the meaning of ay. Ay in Arabic means meaning, or i.e., that is to say, i.e. meaning. Yeah, and it doesn't have, again, it doesn't have any effect on the mudari, because the only one that has an effect is an masdariya. Okay. Now it comes after a fi'l. Now this is a little bit difficult to explain, but so we know qala yaqulu means to say, right? Qala yaqulu means to say. Now there are other words that have the meaning of saying, but are not necessarily from these root letters. Yeah. For example, hadatha. He said also, or he narrated. Okay. Or qassa. He told a story. Or saha. He screamed. Or nasaha. He advised. Or I don't know, khataba. He gave a lecture, or he gave a sermon. Yeah, he gave out a sermon. So all these words, they have to do with words, right? But it's not really the root letters qala yaqulu. They're different words, but they have to do with saying, with words, with narrating, with storytelling, with saying words, with things like that. Okay. So this an at-tafsiriya, it comes with words that is not qala yaqulu, but has the meaning of qala yaqulu. It has the meaning of saying. It's not, you're not going to see qala yaqulu before it. Maybe way before it you would see, but just immediately before it, you will not see it. You will not see a word that is qala yaqulu, but the word that you would see, the verb that you would see, has the meaning of saying something, or you saying words, yeah, in one way or another. And you translate this as saying, just like an al-mukhaffafa, you translate it as that. This one you're going to translate saying, and you'll see how that comes in the example. So watch out for some of this. These are some of the words that you know come with this type of an, like they have the meaning of saying, of words. Nada, he shouted, he called. Sorry, nada, he called. Dakara, he mentioned, so on and so forth. Okay. So all these words, they have the meaning of saying or wording. Yeah. It cannot come after a harf of jar. For example, you cannot have bn. and you say that this is an tafsiriya. No, this cannot happen. You cannot have بأن as an tafsiriya. Okay, so watch out for that. The sentence after أن tafsiriya is considered لا محل لها من الإعراب. So whatever comes after it, you would actually see in the إعراب books لا محل لها من الإعراب. But of course, if you go inside the sentence, you can do the إعراب of that sentence inside. Okay, and most of the time it will come with the فعل أمر. This is a very good hint. So if you see أن and before it is a word that has the meaning of saying, and after it is a فعل أمر, then definitely that is an tafsiriya. Okay, so let's look at some examples for it to be clear. أمرته, I commanded him. أن أقبل, I commanded him saying, come forth. أقبل, approach. Come forth. So I commanded him saying. So you see how that comes into play? I commanded him saying. So commanding has to do with words, right? But it's not قال يقول, but it has to do with words. So I commanded him saying, come forward. And you can see that this is a فعل أمر. Most of the time, like we said, it's going to come with a فعل أمر. Not always, most of the time. Okay. نصحته أن يجتهد. نصحته, I advised him saying, work hard. How did I advise him? What words did I use while advising him? Work hard. Those are the words that I used. So nasaha, to advise, has to do with words, but it's not قال يقول. So نصحته, I advised him saying, work hard. Or قالت لها, she said to her, أن اذهبي, that go, saying go. So she advised her saying go. How did she advise? How did she say to her? Go. Okay. I should have used a different. Sorry. Here, let's change it a little bit. Let's use حدثت or ذكرت لها, because I notice I'm using the same word. ذكرت. So ذكرت لها, she mentioned to her that go, or she mentioned to her saying go. Yeah. Lastly, we have كتبت إليه أن يفعل كذا. And now here you can see it's not exactly a command because it's مرفوع, it's not جزم, it's not really a command. So sometimes you can have it like this. So كتبت إليه, كتب, to write, has to do with words, right? It has to do with words. So any kind of verb that has to do with words would actually apply here. So كتبت إليه, I wrote to him saying يفعل كذا, to do such and such. I wrote to him saying to do such and such. Okay. Is that clear? So basically just put in saying, and if it makes sense, then that's an tafsiriya.
How many times does it come in the last example pattern where it's rafa after the an? Is this normal?
It's not so common. It's not so common. The amr
Okay.
is the common one. So if this is like a hint I also give, like if you see amr after it, then yeah, it's an tafsiriya. I don't think that this comes in the Quran. I will check. I haven't confirmed this pattern in the Quran, but this with the amr, it comes in the Quran. Okay. Then you have an az-zaida. An az-zaida, just like any other zaida that we've mentioned, it's just an extra harf that adds emphasis. And of course, it doesn't have any effect on the mudara, because the only one that has an effect on the mudara is an masdariya. Okay. If you remove this an zaida, like any other zaida, the meaning of the sentence remains unchanged. But this an zaida usually comes after lamma. So when you see lamma, an, immediately your mind goes to zaida. Lamma, an. Okay, that's one. Or it could come between a qasam and law. Between a qasam and law. So for example, if I say, I swear, had you done this, then this. And then there's uqsim أن لو فعلت كذا, I don't know, something would have happened. Yeah. So it comes between what is a qasam? An oath and a law. So أقسم and law, wallahi and law. Any form of oath or swearing, and then you have law. That is going to be an zaida. And of course, it serves the purpose of emphasis like any other zaida. So let's look at some examples here. لما أنقدم استقبلته. لما أنقدم. When he comes or when he approaches, استقبلته, I will meet him, because لما here is a shart. So when he approaches, I will meet him, or I will welcome him, or I will meet him, basically. I will go to meet him. Okay? So لما أنقدم. I could easily just say لما قدم. When he approaches, استقبلته. I will meet him. I don't need the an there. So when I put it there, it becomes زائدة. Or أقسم أن لو صدقت لاحترمت. I swear, had you spoken the truth, لاحترمت, you would be honored. Okay, you would be honored. I swear, if at all. So again, you just add emphasis. If at all you spoke the truth, you would be honored. So this is what you watch out for. You watch out for lamma, and you watch out for a qasam and a law. Just law alone doesn't qualify. It has to come between a qasam and a law. Okay, so that's very important. So not every time you see a law, you immediately jump to zaida. No, it has to be in between a qasam and a law. Okay, that's the important bit. And a qasam could be any kind. So any kind of qasam, like uqsim, I swear, or wallahi, I swear. That's also a qasam. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let's look at some. Yes.
I'm still confused with the masdariya, where you said that we remove the an. When we remove the an to make it mansoob, why doesn't it become the mansoob version? Sorry, I'm stuck on that.
Where was that? An tafshalu.
This one, an tafshalu. Why doesn't it become tafshalina then?
Tafshaluna.
Yeah, it was. You said it was tafshaluna, and we removed the noon to make it nasab.
Yes.
But if we were going to make it nasab, why doesn't it go to tafshalina?
That would be the feminine version, normal. Okay, so listen. So I think this is a sarf issue. So tafshalu, fashala yafshalu. That is the sarf. Fashala yafshalu. So the mudara is huwa yafshalu. Huma yafshalani. Hum yafshaluna. هي تفشل. هما تفشلان. هن يفشلن. أنت تفشل. أنتما تفشلان. أنتم تفشلون. So the normal version is تفشلون. أنتم تفشلون. That's the normal version. So أنتم تفشلون, that is normal version. I want to make it nasab, I say تفشلوا. I want to make it jar, I say تفشلوا. I remove the noon. So that's how you make it nasab and jar. Okay, remember that?
When you say nasab, you mean majzoom? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Nasab and jazm. Sorry, not nasab and jar. Nasab and jazm. Because mansoob, when we're talking about fi'l, there are three kinds of fi'l. There's the marfu', normal. Then there's mansoob, light. And then there's majzoom, lightest. So we are making it light.
Yes, now I got it. Thank you.
Sorry, I was not
No,
using
I also got confused.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot to use the bayina terms, so that's very good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So let's look at some of the tricks of how, when you're looking at an in a verse of the Quran, how do you go about it? So the easiest, because we said an masdariya is the most common one, so look for any signs of nasab. Look for any sign of light. So if you see something that is light, has a fatha on it, or the noon is missing, then you immediately know this is an masdariya. So that's the first thing you do. Okay, you look for any signs of light or any signs of mansub, then immediately you know it's masdariya if it is mudara. Okay, if it's not mudara, can you replace it with a masdar? So we go back to masdar mu'awwal. We go back to the idea of compound ism. Can we translate it as a masdar? Can we put it together with its masdar and it makes sense? Okay, then if you can do that, then it's still masdariya. But what I would advise, if you check for this and you don't find it, skip it first and then check for the rest, because this one can be sometimes confusing. So if the others fail to pass the test, then it only leaves masdariya. Then that would be your basically your answer, right? So if you cannot tell that it is mansub, leave an masdariya first, go to the other masdar ans, see if can it be an mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. If yes, fine. If no, then go to the other one, like that. All right, so you first check for light. If you can't tell that it is light, then skip masdariya first, go to the other types of an. So if the fi'al mudari', and if you have a fi'al mudari' is marfu', basically it's normal, yeah, it has a dhamma, or it's normal looking, it has the signs of normal, then you are definitely dealing with in al-mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. Yeah, an mukhaffafa min al-thaqila. An. Now, if there's a fi'al qawl, when we say fi'al qawl, we mean one of those words that have the meaning of qala yaqulu. Yeah, so one of those words that have qala yaqulu before it, and there's a fi'al amr after it, then you're looking at an tafsiriya, saying, an of saying. Okay, or if you see a law or a lamma and you remove from the sentence and the integrity of the sentence remains, then it's za'ida. But of course, with law, be careful with law. It has to be between a qasam and a law, not just any law. Okay, so that's important. So check for this lamma law first. Check for the fi'al. Check for the fi'al amr after it. Check for the signs of rafa. If none of this apply, then you have your masdariya. Then it definitely has to be masdariya, one way or another. Okay. So, yeah. So the process is just see if there's a fi'al after it is mansub, then it's definitely masdariya. If it is marfu', it can either be mukhaffafa or it can be tafsiriya. And if it is tafsiriya, then you check if the fi'al has the meaning of saying. If it has the meaning of saying, then it's tafsiriya. If there's a lamma or a law, then it's zaida. That's basically the process of how you go about it. So let's try and put this into practice and see who wants to participate. Okay, great. So we'll start with Saima, then Fauzia, then Sultana. So Saima.
وأن تصدقوا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. It is masdariya because the fail after is mansub.
Exactly. So you immediately see this is mudari', tasaddaquna. The noon disappeared, so definitely this is masdariya, just like that. Okay. Fauzia.
Lamma an ja'a, because there's a lamma, so this is going to be zaida.
Exactly. So you immediately see lamma, your mind goes to zaida. So you can even remove this. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ الْبَشِيرُ, when the caravan came. Yeah? So you know that is zaida. Okay, Sultana?
وَالْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ. And after an, the fi'l mudari is mansub, so it will be masdariya.
Exactly. So you see mansub there, you know immediately this is masdariya. Okay. And this kind of masdariya here in this, just for your own maybe understanding, this is sababiya. Okay, so it has the meaning of lest or otherwise, one of those meanings. Allah put pegs on the earth lest you fall, or lest it falls with you, something like that, takes you away. Okay. Saima?
After an there is a fail amal, so it is tafsiriya.
Tafsiriya. And here you see the verb, the word that came before it is awha. and we inspired. So you can inspire with words. Although this ayah, like you have some grammarians disputing, because some say you can inspire somebody or without necessarily using words. So you can have like ilham inside of you, like you just know, right? Sometimes you have insights. It's not really words. So there has been debate. Some have said this is masdariya. Some have said it's what is it called? Tafsiriya. But we'll go with tafsiriya here because yeah, inspired, it could be like with certain words. Like they inspired him, whispered something into the ears or something. The angel came and said, Isna al fulk, build a ship. Yeah, saying build a ship. And I'm more inclined to tafsiriya because you know it's fi'al amr here. So it makes more sense that way. That these are the words that were used to tell Nuh alayhi salam to build the ship. Wallahu a'lam. Okay. Fawzia?
The fail after an is mansub, so it's masdariya.
Where?
ما قلت لهم إلا ما أمرتني به أن يعبدوا.
Sorry. I was reading this as Allah and I was a bit confused. Okay, yes, أن يعبدوا. Yes. So you were saying, yeah?
Yeah, so it's mansub, so it's masdariya.
So أعبدوا is actually amr.
Oh, is it?
It's-
Oh,
So it's not فعل مضارع. If it was
yeah.
مضارع, it would be يعبدون and then you make it مجزوم or you make it light منصوب to become يعبدوا.
Yeah, so now I'm looking if it's fil amr.
Amara means to command. Do you think that has to do with words?
Yes. So so it's the fail amr after, and it's so tafsiriya.
Yes. So this is another tafsiriya. Okay, so you see Amara, he commanded me, illa ma amarani, except what he commanded me with, that is saying, a'budullah, worship Allah. So you can see how that is translated. Okay.
So next is an tasumu. So after an fi'l mudari is mansub. So this will be what to say, that is
Masdariya.
masdariya. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So this is masdariya. Yeah, you can see it was
Masdariya.
tasumuna, now it's tasumu. So this
Ji.
becomes masdariya, yes.
Masdariya.
So fasting is better for you, or too fast. So you see how you translate an masdariya? Too fast is better for you in kuntum ta'lamun, if you know. Okay. Saima?
Yeah, actually I'm confused with the verb ata, who it's
Oh, here. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So this one, so if you're not seeing anything before it that is giving any ideas of speech, so the only way you would be confused because it's fi'l madi. If it was fi'l mudari, straightforward, right? But when it's
Yeah.
fi'l madi and you're not sure is it masdariya or not, you try the other. You try and think if can it be zaida? There's no lamma, there's no law. We rule it out, so it's not zaida. Can it be tafsiriya? There's no word that has the meaning of. So ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه. So maybe argued here you can say. So we leave tafsiriya alone, and then we have the other one is مخففة من الثقيلة. Okay, so مخففة من الثقيلة, we said it mostly comes with فعل ماضي, and let me just go back there. I'm also a bit confused here. This one is a tricky one, isn't it? But I think it's possibly مصدرية. So فعل ماضي إنه okay. إنه أتى يأتي إيتاء إيتاءه الله. Okay, so this one is a tricky one because this part has a lam, lam of because, lam ta'lil, that is actually hidden. Okay, so لأن أتاه, because Allah gave him mulk. Okay, so ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه. Did you see the one who argued with Ibrahim about his master? Because he was, Allah gave him mulk. Like he was arrogant because Allah gave him mulk. Yeah, he was arguing with Ibrahim because Allah gave him mulk. So this would be لأجله مفعول في مفعول لأجله, if you will, this part. It's answering the question why. Okay, so this part. So now when we, yes, so when we look at that, then this becomes masdariya. This
So
becomes
basically like Masdariya and Mukhaffafa.
Mukhaffafa.
These
Yeah.
two will be confusing. Otherwise, the Zaida will be law, lamma,
Yeah.
and Tafsiriya will have the saying words and fail amar.
Yeah, exactly. So these ones are the ones you watch out for, but most likely it's going to be masdariya because masdariya is the common one. Yeah.
And when it is
Mukhaffafa.
Madi, then it is confusing. Other Mudari
Yeah.
is clear.
Exactly. Yeah. So only fi'al madhi is the one that is a bit confusing. Yeah. But if you know the others, at least you know 90%, you can easily identify. So only fi'al madhi becomes a bit confusing. Yeah. Okay. Next, Fauzia.
Yeah. Alima an sayakunu minkum marda. Sayakunu is mudare and it's marfu, but it has the fail qawl
Yes.
after the an. So it could be mukhaffafa. Oh, sorry, it could be tafsiriya, but I have to look for the amar, which I don't see ahead. Marda. So then, if it's not tafsiriya, then it would be mukhaffafa.
Yes. So the other trick you look at is if you see sa, qad, la, lan. If you see anything between the an and the fi'al mudara, if you see something coming in between, then it definitely is mukhaffafa. So alima anna sayakunu or alima annahu sayakunu. That's what it is supposed to be. But so they just made it light for easy pronunciation.
And so if we had found an amar after minkum marda, then it could have been tafsiriya.
Yeah, but immediately after the an, most likely. Alima an, the command.
Okay.
But alima actually is not fi'al qawl. Did I put?
No, you didn't. Alima was not fail qawl.
Okay. Yeah, so you have to see a fi'al qawl here, and then an amar after it. Then you can say that this is tafsiriya.
Okay.
Sultana?
فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا أَن يَتَرَاجَعَانِ. It was, so it has become mansub by dropping of nun, so it is masdariya.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you see the mudara is mansub, immediately masdariya. Done. Saima?
Yeah, again. Antafshala.
It's so hard.
Antafshalani, it was,
Yes,
so it is Masdariya.
exactly. Yeah, so you see if it's mudara, it's just so easy to spot it. Yeah. Fawzia?
Same. And tusiba na. So tusiba is mansub. So it's masdariya.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Asaba yusibu yusiba. So it became mansub. Sultana?
أَفَلَا يَرَوْنَ أَلَّا يَرْجِعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ. So this is Zaida.
Yes. Sorry, no. So this is actually anla. Let's make it clear. So it's an plus la.
Yeah, anla, but mudare is marfu. So as it has not caused any changes there, so this should be mukhaffafa or zaida.
Mukhaffafa. Because remember, mukhaffafa, we said if you see any fasil, if you see anything in between, So la
Acha. Yeah,
or sa, anything in
See.
between. مخفف.
Acha. مخفف. Yeah.
Saima?
It is law and la, so it is zaida.
So remember, when you see law, it has to come between a qasam. So here we needed a qasam and then law. But this wow here is just wow atif. It's not wow qasam. It's not wow lil qasam.
Okay, so the qasam should come between an and law.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That's how you know that this is zaida. But if it's just like this, then it's a bit different. So this is the tricky one. So the only options you have is masdariya, mukhaffafa. Okay, those are the only options you have, because it cannot be zaida because it doesn't fulfill the condition of zaida. It cannot be tafsiriya because it doesn't fulfill the conditions of tafsiriya. So you ask yourself between mukhaffafa and masdariya, which one could fit in more better?
Because there's the fail madi and mukhaffafa mostly comes with the madi.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And also remember we said that sometimes it comes with damiru sha'n. So this is where the case وَأَنَّهُ لَوْ اسْتَقَامُوا. So it was supposed to be وَأَنَّهُ. So that's kind of like how it was meant to be. Okay. I think so, yeah. So it doesn't make sense as a masdar. You can't replace this with a masdar. وَأَنْ لَوْ اسْتَقَامُوا. So it makes more sense as mukhaffafa. Yeah, this I know mukhaffafa and masdariya, if it's madi, it's a bit tricky. But you try and just figure it out between the two. But at least if you narrow it down to those two, it's better than having to deal with four. Yeah.
So can this lam here will help out in saying that it is mukhaffafa? Anla, like here if it is anna, and here la is the ashainahum, right? Here. No, the one which sister did now.
وَأَنْ لَوْ اسْتَقَامُوا.
After tarikhatu, la. So this lam with takid. So normally it comes with anna and inna, right?
So this one comes with law. So remember when we're doing law
Oh,
shartiyya?
laula. Acha.
Lawla. Lam al-jawab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also in mukhaffafa is the one that comes with lam. So that's something, it can be a bit confusing. So in mukhaffafa comes with lam, but an mukhaffafa doesn't come with lam. Okay. Who's doing the last one? I don't know.
I am.
Okay.
The takunu converted to takuna, which is mansub, so this becomes masdariya.
Exactly. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. When it's mudara, it's just so fun. When it's madi, that's when things, become a bit tricky and stuff. But at least I hope that simplifies a few things. Even though the madi one can be a bit confusing, but at least when it comes with mudara, it becomes easy. And most of the time it actually comes, when it's masdariya, most of the time it comes with mudara. And mukhaffafa, most of the time comes with madi. So that kind of makes it a bit easy. A bit easy. So that was it. Any questions on an and in? Maybe we've wounded up the topic of in and an. Finish that.
Can you just confirm what you just said? You said that the in comes with lam or la for in mukhaffafa.
Basically, it's called lam al-fariqa.
Okay.
Like, yeah, la maftuha. When you say, the problem is sometimes if you say la, somebody can imagine you're saying negation, la. So that's why I say lam to mean la.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's not la of negation, it's just la with a fatha on it. Like, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? maybe you could just show you again what I mean by that. So yeah, so this lam is called lam al-fariqa, and this is what we mean when we say lam al-fariq, la mujtahid. Yeah. All right, so next week probably we'll be looking at al-ishtighal. It's going to be a short topic, and maybe an-na'at al-sababi. Those are the two topics we're going to look at. Very short topics, actually, I think. Maybe an-na'at is going to be a bit longer, but no, not really. Yeah, so they're both a bit short. Yeah, that's what we'll be looking at next week, inshallah. All right. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم guys.
وعليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خيرا كثيرا.
إياكم جزاكم الله خير.